This month's issue is all about hair and many other things, and I'm really getting in touch with my inner Diana Ross.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode in the series in which we celebrate the beautiful Diana Ross. And I am on vacation in the Canary Islands, one of my favorite places on earth, where I've already filmed a few videos for Dionne Warwick last year. So today I wanted to focus on the very special relationship that Oprah carries for Diana Ross, and the love that she has for her, as well as the influence that Diana Ross was for this amazing woman that is Oprah. As you've seen her, she's channeling her inner Diana Ross when she does her hair. And here we're going to watch the very first excerpt, which is a podcast of Rob Lowe, who's still stunning, and they are discussing the Central Park concert, where Rob Lowe was actually there, but he was on stage, backstage, watching Diana Ross and watching her fight the elements, and watch how Oprah is just so excited to find out, as well as this is where she begins to slowly decide that she wants to have things that Diana Ross has.
One of my questions to you is, when were you most nervous interviewing? Who would it be?
It was Sidney Poitier and Diana Ross. And for Diana Ross, because it was such a phenomenal moment for me that I remember when Diana Ross, are you old enough to remember Diana Ross in Central Park?
I was there.
No, you weren't.
I was there with Andy Warhol. There.
When it started raining and she had to, the concert had to end?
I was on stage there. It was the most incredible thing of my life. One of them.
Wow.
It was Oprah, you have no idea. It was unfucking believable. I have a seared into my memory is the angle where I was standing directly behind her with the chiffon.
Wow. My eyes are watering now that you were there. Oh my God, you were there.
The chiffon blowing, it had just gotten dark, the spotlights coming from the towers hitting her, the rain coming down in sheets, the towers now starting to shake, which is why they stopped the concert, because they were worried it was going to collapse on the audience. And her singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Yes. Oh my God, you were there?
I'll never forget it.
My head's swelling thinking about it. Anyway, so after that concert, well, I wasn't there. I was watching from my little apartment in Baltimore. I was so in awe of that whole moment. The next day, I called trying to find Diana Ross. Of course, I did not. So I ended up with her production company. So she had, if anybody goes to YouTube and sees it, there were these diamond earrings. And I was thinking, wow, one day I want to have diamond earrings like that. And I remember asking two things. What mascara was she wearing that did not run? And they told me Lancome waterproof. So to this day, I still use Lancome waterproof. And what size diamonds were those? And they told me 10 karat diamonds. So my whole career, I was like in Baltimore making, $22,000 a year, but I'm saving up so I can get those 10 karat diamonds. Now, when I finally interviewed her, she said they were not 10, they were 5 carats each. And I went, wow, I went and got the 10s and I didn't have to have the 10s. But anyway, I overspent. But that moment seared into my memory, the power and confidence and authority and just the majesty of that moment.
So isn't it amazing how she wanted to find out about the Lancome mascara and about the 10 karat diamonds that Diana Ross wore during that concert, and the way Rob Lowe describes the wind in the chiffon coat and how things were shaking and how dangerous it was going to be, and the excitement of Oprah. It's like a little girl, and it's just absolutely wonderful. One thing about that Lancome mascara, it's quite surprising that she was wearing it at that time, not knowing that it was going to rain, because she does not usually wear a waterproof mascara because it's very, very hard to take off, and so it hurts the eyes and hurts the eyelashes. So generally, from what I've known, she does wear Lancôme, but it's not the waterproof. Now we go on to the very first time that Oprah is going to interview Diana Ross, and you can sense how excited she is about meeting her and also interviewing her on her very own show. So she's now, touching her idol with her fingertips, and it's really, really exciting. And listen to that magnificent poem that she recites to Diana Ross, and where she compares her to Sheba, the queen, magnificent Ethiopian queen who traveled across the desert to meet King Solomon, and where she had children with him, and they are now a magnificent tribe in Israel. So it's quite exciting.
I was 10 years old. Diana Ross and the Supremes appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. Baby, baby. And I had never seen anything like that. And I'm just a little color girl. And there are the Supremes. And I thought, I want to be like that. And I carried that with me through every single part of my life, through every bad relationship, through every guy who said, the problem with you, baby doll, is you think you're special, through every harassment in jobs, everything. I carried it through the 60s, through the 70s, through the 80s, and now I'm sitting on my show and I'm interviewing Diana Ross.
Please welcome Ms. Diana Ross.
Oprah.
Well, let me
Thank
tell you
you.
this.
That's so wonderful.
Well, you know what? It's so interesting because I never really think about interviews, but I probably thought more about this one than anyone I've ever done. And I just wanted to share something with you. There are not words that could really express what it means to me to have you here today. But I remembered last night I was thinking about this, and there is a poem by Nikki Giovanni, and she says, she went to Sunday school, and she heard of Nebuchadnezzar, who was king of the Jews. And she was told of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. And then she heard of Sheba, who was black and comely. And she said, I want to be like that.
Oh, wow.
I wanted you to know that when I saw you on the Ed Sullivan Show, when I saw you on that show and subsequent shows and the Dick Clark Caravan, I saw you and I said, I want to be like that.
Oh, wow.
Yes. You represented hope for me.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Hope for me, because at the time, back in the 60s, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, y'all know. Y'all knew African Americans. When we were colored people, there were no role models. And everybody who makes it, I think, makes it anywhere in their lives, any level of success achieves that because somebody shows them the light.
One extraordinary thing that I wanted to show you was the arrival of Diana Ross, because it's always something extraordinary when she arrives somewhere, and she's wearing a Thierry Mugler suit, which in the company I worked for 20 years, and that suit I sold, I put on sale, I had it stored away, and I could have really owned one of those suits, not Diana Ross, of course, but one of those suits, and kept it, and it was, I really could fit myself. But at the time, I was just working with these clothes day and night, so they weren't as precious to me, and I don't think I had seen Diana Ross wearing it, or else I would have had a copy and kept one for myself. So she's just absolutely stunning there. Now we're going to see something which is much later on, where Diana Ross performs at the Oprah show. This is the last time that Diana Ross was interviewed by Oprah, and here Diana Ross is in full Diana Ross regalia with a beautiful, beautiful red gown, and watch how they hug and kiss each other, and the genuine love and affection between those two women. Also, something quite interesting is here they become equal, because we must remember that Oprah is one of the most powerful and most influential women in the world, and certainly in America. And Diana Ross returns the compliment to her and says, "Now I watch you." And it's very, very interesting. And that interview is very, very deep, because Diana Ross explains the difficulties of being famous and the pitfalls, and she watches young artists who suffer and sometimes are not able to pick themselves up. So it's really, really, really interesting.
You look amazing.
Okay, so everybody, just calm down a minute. I have to tell you that for me, this is more than a full circle moment. I have to really keep myself from going into the ugly cry. Because of how much this legend, this woman, means to me and my life, and to the life of every little girl who dared to dream.
I love you.
So I'm going to try to keep it together today, but as you know, when you really have such love and admiration for somebody, it's sort of like you're being out of your body. That's how like you are right now. That's really how I feel, but I'm going to try to hold it together
And
for an interview.
I'm loving you the same.
Oh, no.
Loving you the same.
For me, being a 10-year-old girl, watching you and having dreams, just like everybody, when they found you, we all have our own stories of what that meant, and how I carried that dream inside me for years, because there wasn't anybody, I'm not going to cry, who was on television who looked like me. And that night that we all saw you, I think around the world, particularly here in the United States, our hearts lit up with the possibility of what it meant to be a little black girl. Thank you for that.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you for that.
That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you for that. But of course, at the time, I was 10 years old. You were only 20 at the time you were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And at the time, you didn't realize that's what you were doing, right?
No.
No.
I didn't have any role models before Lena Horne. We had Lena Horne. But we didn't really know what to do except to try to be the best we knew how to do.
Yeah, and when you look at your career, you recognize that you are and were a star and what that meant?
I don't think we felt like we were stars. We felt like we were still growing. We were still becoming. We wanted to make good music, and we wanted to travel the world, coming little black girls from Detroit. And so I don't think we were really so consciously thinking at that moment that we had made it.
Really?
No, not at all.
Not at all. When did you think you'd made it? When?
Never. I've never been that overconfident about what's possible. And a lot of you say you watched me, my watching you continues to make me know what's possible.
That is just amazing to me.
Yeah.
No, that is amazing
What
to me.
about you? Did you think that you,
No,
when
but
did you think you had made it?
I actually do.
You do?
I actually do. I do think that I have made it to a certain level, and I now think what is the next level?
Yes, yes.
But I think sitting here with you has made me make it. So there never was a time where you felt like, because now you see this today, so many women, men, young people lose themselves in the fame. You never felt like you lost yourself in the fame.
I think there are definitely pitfalls in when you're really doing this kind of work. It's hard work. I know that it may look easy, but there are these ups and downs in your journey. And I think I see it with most every performer. And I think that is where, that's where all of the lessons are.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with a very last excerpt. This was 1999. Diana Ross was promoting double platinum with Brandy, and this is very fun and playful, and Oprah has, very light questions, mainly talking about Diana Ross's wardrobe, where she stacks all her clothes, and awing about her beautiful look. And I especially wanted to show you this because here you see two friends, but also Diana Ross is just so magnificent. So I wanted to leave you with this small excerpt, and I want to thank you all for being part of this channel. 1,150 subscribers. I can never get over. It's just so exciting to me. And as if you have seen the short that I published yesterday, there is a soul music festival here in the Canary Islands, and they chose to illustrate the festival the beautiful photograph of Diana Ross from the 70s. And so when I arrived from the airport, I was just so excited seeing these posters all over, and I walked a couple of miles back to find one and to take a picture with our beloved Diana Ross. Love you all. I'll make one more video from the Canary Islands, and then I'll be back in Paris in August. Bye-bye.
Because you could have one of those incredible auctions like Princess Di did. You could do that.
Yeah, but
like at Sotheby's or Christie's, and I'd pay big bucks to get my thigh in one of them. You could do that one day. You could actually do that.
They asked me for costumes to put into like a museum of all the early costumes, like the early days, and I thought I would do that, but it really requires a lot of care. I kept trying to.
So do you have a floor or a wing or another home for all the clothes? Seriously.
I have a really old house, and the third floor, which was supposed to be bedrooms, is really a lot of closets, and that's where I keep my clothes.